Good afternoon. My name is Ina Kinney. I'm the founder and CEO of Economic and Community Development Institute. So I welcome all of you to ECDI. Before we start, I want to thank my staff in Columbus who are phenomenal. We have so many people. There's a lot of them, so I'm not going to thank all of them, but thank you guys for getting this together. ECDI's mission is to invest in people to create measurable and enduring social and economic change. Since its inception in 2004, so 12 years now, ECDI has assisted over 6,900 entrepreneurs, dispersed over $30 million through 1,400 loans, and created and retained 5,100 jobs via our comprehensive suite of programs available through our offices in Columbus, Cleveland, and Akron. ECDI currently is the third largest SBA microloan intermediary lender in the United States, so good stuff. Yeah. Our programs and services have been supported by over $52 million in federal, state, local, and private funds and have proven to spur local economic development. How do we do this? We invest, we educate, and we innovate the businesses and people who are inspired and who inspire us. I want to thank the City of Columbus, Mayor Ginther. I want to thank the Department of Development, Steve Shoney and his team, City Council members. I hope I don't miss anybody. There's from City Council, I believe Liz Brown is here, and I don't know if Zach is here or not, but thank you. Our support from the City of Columbus has been just inspiring. They've been with us from beginning. In fact, right now we're sitting in our new facility, which is called Workforce Incubation Network, WIN. The space has been made possible by the support of the City of Columbus. It's a business incubator and co-working program specially tailored towards small businesses. WIN's mission is to empower new businesses and strengthen local communities by providing access to education, mentorship, and supportive space. WIN memberships include 24/7 access to full office amenities, as well as training and technical assistance, and of course, access to capital. You know, we like to think of ECDI as a one-stop shop that provides access to training, technical assistance, and capital to would-be entrepreneurs. As you see, our facility here, we have 3 warehouses. This here is a workforce incubation space. Then we have 2 other warehouses that house our commercial kitchen and our commissary. What we do is so much needed in this community, so I want to thank all of you for coming to this event. It means a lot to have you here, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce Luke McGowan. Did I pronounce that correctly? Who is Director of Public Policy for Thumbtack, and that's an organization out of San Francisco, and he told me to say that he's been with them since beginning. Just about. Thank you. Oh, just real quickly, finally, I want to thank Douglas Craven and Steve Fireman, our president and general counsel, as well as my board members. I think we have 3 here. We have Rose Roman, we have David Suman, and we have Retta right there. So thank you, everybody, for coming.
All right, I want to first just say we've got plenty of seats up here in the front, so don't be shy. Looking at you guys over there, you're ready for a seat. But, all right, so just to get started here, I had a few more thank yous to follow up. So thank you, Ina, for this introduction. Big thank you to ECDI for hosting us here today. And then also a special shout out to Liz Brown, who's actually a former college classmate of mine. I can tell you guys are very lucky to have her on your council, and thank you for helping make this happen, Liz. So for those of you who don't know us already, Thumbtack is an online service that connects customers with skilled professionals to get things done. So Thumbtack features more than 200,000 skilled professionals, individuals who use their vocational skills and passion to build long-term, self-sustaining careers. This work has generated more than $1 billion in business for those skilled professionals in every state. Now, these professionals include pretty much the gamut. So So if you're looking for a roofer or a carpenter to put a new roof on your house, you can hire a carpenter or a roofer off of Thumbtack. If you're looking to get in shape, you can hire a personal trainer or a yoga instructor off of Thumbtack. If you're looking to host an event like this one, you can hire a photographer, a videographer, a makeup artist, a florist, kind of any service you can imagine. And that list goes on. We have about 1,000 different types of professional service on Thumbtack, making Thumbtack America's largest online services marketplace. Now here in Columbus, we have tens of thousands of customers who use Thumbtack every year to get their jobs done, and over 5,000 active businesses, including the professionals who are working this event. So I just want to give a shout out to Jerome from JM Catering over there in the back. Yeah, a round of applause for Jerome. Steve from J-Pops, so hopefully you get some of those J-Pops since we're here with a 70-degree day in Columbus. And then Travis from Travis Stewart Photography. A round of applause for Travis over here. And then Chris from New Prospects Video right here in the middle, so a round of applause for Chris. And Chris has promised we will all look great on this video. So, as these pros will tell you, finding new customers is usually the biggest concern any small business owner faces. That's why they use Thumbtack. But it's not their only concern. So from traveling around the country, I've learned that there are kind of two big things that business owners have to deal with when they're running a small business. And one, I think it's lonely work. So small business owners here in this room will probably tell you, they don't have someone in the office they can turn to ask a question. They're on it, they're in it on their own. Then the other thing is they don't just have to be experts in their profession. So they're not just an expert photographer. They have to be an expert tax professional. They have to be an expert marketer. They have to be an expert HR professional, an expert legal professional, and kind of the list goes on and on and on. And Thumbtack wants to help with all of that too. So we run a survey every year, which we call the Small Business Friendliness Survey, to see where are cities and states supporting small businesses and maybe where can they do a little bit better. And this allows us to rank cities and states against each other and determine who is a true friend to small business and who is championing their cause. Which brings us here to Columbus. So Columbus was one of the top cities in our survey. And round of applause for that. And the top city here in Ohio. So nice job to Columbus there. Professionals told us that Columbus is a particularly easy place to start a business, which is a very tough hurdle. All the small business owners here are nodding their heads. That's hard, but here in Columbus, it's easier than almost any other major city. And perhaps even more importantly, the access to training programs is something our professionals told us Columbus does better than anyone else. So you received an A+ grade for the access to training programs. So we're here today to recognize the city and the mayor for their support of small business. I hope that we'll be able to discuss what's working so that other cities can learn a little bit from the Columbus example. And then since nobody's perfect, hopefully we can talk a little bit about where we might be able to improve. So with that, I'd like to bring the mayor up and present the official Thumbtack Champion of Small Business Award to Mayor Ginther.
Well, thank you, Luke, and everyone at Thumbtack, and thank you all for being here today. I think this will look pretty good to our small business and entrepreneurial community, and those who have yet to start a business in our great city. Got to talk to Luke a little bit, and he says that he has some special connections to Columbus. He mentioned Councilmember Brown, but he also worked with President Klein at the White House, I think both for Vice President Biden. And so got some special connections, and he tells me that his wife is all over him about moving home to Columbus. So I'm going to get our contact information. I told him we'd be over Saturday to help him move home to Columbus. I'm happy to accept this award on behalf of the city of Columbus. So many people are responsible for us receiving this honor for being a city that is friendly to small businesses. And I know that a lot of them have been mentioned. I know Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Shannon Harden, who chairs the Small Business and Minority Business Development Committee on council, couldn't be here today, but we would not be receiving this award and recognition without his leadership. I mentioned President Klein, Director Shoney, Ryan Schick, who's the Small Business Concierge in our Department of Development, Quentin Harris, our Deputy Director for Jobs and Economic Development, and everybody knows what a great catalyst and champion for small businesses we have in this community with ECDI's Director Ina Keeney. Thank you, and for all of your support, your board, and all of your amazing staff here. Over the past 10 years, the city of Columbus has approved 371 loans for a total of $11.2 million for small businesses and pursued progressive strategies to attract private investment in small business startups. We've established the Small Business Concierge to help entrepreneurs navigate city government, and the Small Business Builder, an online roadmap for each stage of starting or expanding a business. Chris Crater's here. Chris, raise your hand. Chris is here with us today, and he can tell you a story about being an outstanding small business owner here in Columbus. He owns 4 restaurants, I know from experience. The Sycamore in German Village, one of our favorite spots. Salt and Pine, which is just a few blocks away from City Hall, and Harvest Pizzeria, location in German Village, and in my neck of the woods in Clintonville. We are so proud of Chris's work and the great contributions he's made to this community, the folks he's employed, and the way that his restaurants give back to the quality of life of this city. And I'm not sure if Al's joined us yet. We're hoping Al Edmondson would be here, a dear friend of mine and a great small business and entrepreneur. He is a barber. He tells folks he's the barber for barbers. So he's the coach of coaches and has a great barber shop on the Near East Side called A Cut Above the Rest, and does tremendous work with his Make a Difference Foundation for children and families in our community, and has been a great partner with me on the Celebrate One initiative, attacking crisis-level infant mortality rates in some of our neighborhoods. So even with all of our success stories, there's always more we can do. And many of you are aware that I announced in our State of the City address at my alma mater last month that Columbus is committed to becoming a Kiva City, a partnership of local community groups and microfinance organizations working together to connect lenders with entrepreneurs. And we're committed to leveraging the collective resources of government, private investors, nonprofits, businesses, and foundations to continue the collaborative spirit that has become our city's trademark, the Columbus way. When the public sector, nonprofit, private sector work together to create jobs, contribute to the quality of life of our neighborhoods, and lift up our families. I'm proud to accept this award today on behalf of the city of Columbus, and committed to making Columbus even better for small businesses in the future. Thank you all.
So now comes the more kind of engaging part of the event. So we're going to take a quick break, just a few minutes, and set up our panel, and then open it up to questions. So. All right. Well, everyone hopefully is comfortable now. We'll get going in a minute. We've got one more panelist coming. But in the meantime, maybe since we have such a large panel, we'll just start, and maybe if each person could just introduce yourself and just give a quick line about the business or organization you're here representing. So we'll start with you, Victoria.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Victoria Calderón Nunes, and I co-own 2 businesses with my sister and business partner. and that is Avanza Business Solutions, a niche marketing and business consulting agency, as well as Bottoms Up Coffee Co-op. That's coffee and co-working for social change in Franklinton, working to reduce infant mortality and increase workforce development. And I have to say, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here today, and I want to wish everyone a happy International Women's Day. So that just makes this the more important, the more special occasion to be able to be here representing foreign-born entrepreneurs in the great community of Columbus. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Quiet crowd. There should be so much excitement going on today with the award. My name's Kristen Easterday. I represent the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. We serve a number of businesses here in Central Ohio. The majority, 9 out of 10 of our members, are small and medium-sized businesses. So this is our bread and butter that we're talking about today. And we provide resources, everything from advocacy, talent connections, direct connections to clients, and as well as business intelligence and research. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christy Campbell, and I head up marketing and community outreach for Rev1 Ventures. If you're not familiar with Rev1, you may have known of our predecessor organization, which was Tech Columbus. We actually are very, very focused on helping entrepreneurs build great companies here in our region. And we do that through services, connections to companies and leaders and experts in the community, and then also funding. So last year we funded 29 startups, which was a really big number. And that and all the great work that these organizations are doing together actually helped Columbus become the fastest growing startup city in the nation last year. So you might not know that, but it was pretty cool for us to get that.
Welcome back. Oh, why? Welcome back, everybody. Ina Kinney, I'm the founder and CEO of Economic and Community Development Institute, and I think you all heard what we do, so Mayor Ginther.
Mayor Ginther, Mayor of the City of Columbus.
I don't know if this one's on. Okay, there we go. My name's Elise Steinbrecher, and I am a photographer with Elise Steinbrecher Photography. My main focus is events, weddings, and portraits, and telling a story through your memories.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Crater. I'm the founder and CEO of Grow Restaurants. We currently oversee 4 restaurants, Harvest Pizzeria, 2 locations, Sycamore and Salt and Pine, downtown Columbus, and we're running hard to create more. We're having a great time doing it.
I'm particularly excited to do this portion of the event because this is a real chance to connect different parts of an economy and different constituencies in a way that maybe doesn't happen that often. So it is not so frequent that the mayor will sit down and kind of hear from the community maybe about things that are, he likes hearing about things that are good, but he also likes hearing, where we can improve. So I want to make this kind of as useful of a conversation as possible to the city and to the business owners here in this room. But we'll get started here. And I just want to lead off with a question for the mayor. Thumbtack, we find the most inspiring people we deal with are the small business owners using our platform. Every day there's kind of another story about someone who's really lifted themselves up from nothing and created something amazing. And so I'm just curious, what inspires you about the small business owners here in Columbus, and why are you committed to their success?
Well, as it is with the American economy, small businesses are the backbone of the economy here, and they are a great reason why the city of Columbus has now fully recovered from the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, and is actually adding jobs. It is because of the robust and strong small business climate that we've been able to build in partnership with entrepreneurs and small business people, and it's one of the reasons that we have record level of low unemployment. They also have helped us with our goals around shared prosperity, because small businesses and entrepreneurs understand better than most the challenges that both workers and families are facing like never before, because oftentimes they're family-owned or family-driven businesses. Whether or not they're employees or not, they are part of the business and shaping that as small business owners. And so our goals around shared prosperity and growing the middle class here to become America's opportunity city with the largest middle class of any city our size in the country, and a place you're more likely to go from poverty to the middle class and beyond. Our goals are going to be realized in large part how small business owners, entrepreneurs, and startups do in the city of Columbus. They're inextricably intertwined, and so that's why we're so passionate and excited and bullish on Columbus's future.
So the next question, and this is, particularly for our audience, we serve businesses around the country, and there are lots of business owners who are going to be seeing this event and who are, like my wife, are going to be convinced that Columbus is the place we should be moving. So I kind of want to have an open question to the panel. What makes Columbus such a special place? What are 3 things specifically, what would they be surprised to learn about the business environment here? So I'm not sure if anyone wants to jump on that one. I'm looking to maybe our Chamber of Commerce colleague or...
What makes Columbus so special? I think it's a combination of the size. It's like, I hate when people say Cowtown because it's absolutely not that. But it is a small enough big city where you know people, you know your neighbors, and we kind of look after each other, and you actually feel like you're serving a community rather than this big city with no personality. I mean, the mayor lives in Clintonville. Having a great conversation with him. I mean, this is our town, and it's such a great time to be doing what we're doing right now. The growth is tangible. You can see it, you can taste it, you can smell it. Like everywhere you turn, there's positive growth happening, and the doors are open for people who want to jump in.
Look, what I will say is I actually split my time between St. Louis, Missouri, and Columbus, Ohio. So I am making the case for my husband. He's actually finishing his medical training over there so that we can make Columbus our permanent home when we're finished. But thank you. Very excited to do that. A lot of people will say I've already made that transition, but no, I do split my time. I spend more of it in Columbus, though, growing our small businesses. But I will say that Columbus is very friendly to the foreign-born entrepreneurial community, and I think that's huge because it's such a largely growing population and such an entrepreneurial population. The foreign-born community is embraced here with a lot of resources and an incredible network that does not see new businesses sprouting as competition, but that sees it as an innovative way to solve solutions and really just is embracing and wants to support that innovation and the growth. So I think those are some very special resources that Columbus can offer and that are very attractive for small business owners.
So in addition to what my other panelists have so eloquently talked about, I would say if I had to narrow it down to 3 things that small business owners from other cities would be surprised to hear about Columbus, and these are generic words, but they are not generic here. I would say our collaborative spirit, first and foremost. I mean, look at this panel. We've got public, private, and nonprofit sector all here, all talking about the needs of small businesses, and us all wanting to take the next step forward. So collaborative spirit, I would also say we're open and smart. We've all heard those terms before, but I think it's really true. We're open. The Columbus Chamber opens doors for businesses every day for that first contract at Nationwide, at Cardinal Health. That's all you need. Opening the door, and we're open, and our businesses want to be open to our entrepreneurs and our other small businesses, and we're smart. We're not okay with being a rating of A-. We're all sitting here today saying, what can we do to get to be an A+ city? So collaborative spirit, accessibility, we're open and we're smart.
That's a great answer. You guys are making a strong case here for Columbus. So before we get to that next point, I did want our new panelists to introduce yourself and maybe just one line or two about the organization you're here representing.
Okay, my name is Al Edmondson. I'm the president of the Mount Vernon Avenue District Improvement Association. I work with all the businesses in the King Lincoln District, and we're improving them every day. And we're trying to make our neighborhood a better place to work, live, and worship.
Great. Thank you, Al. So in our survey results, kind of 3 things pop up near the top as what is important to a small business owner when they're trying to gauge small business friendliness. And so first, I talked about training and networking programs, which Columbus does a great job on. So we're going to want to hear a little bit more about those programs. But the other 2 are, won't come as a surprise to some of the owners here. Licensing is a big issue. So in certain categories of service, you're required to have a license, sometimes by the city, sometimes by the state, sometimes by both. And often those licensing restrictions can be difficult to manage. It can be a lot of paperwork, and it can be a tough thing for a business owner to deal with. And then finally, the third thing is taxes. No one likes paying taxes. Well, some people like paying taxes. No one likes paying a ton of taxes. The thing about taxes, though, our small business owners tell us, it's not necessarily the rate that matters so much, it's just the paperwork requirements. If you're starting a new business and all of a sudden you have to make quarterly filings, you're trying to predict what your income is going to be at the end of the year, that's difficult. So maybe if you could just talk about, doesn't necessarily have to be around those issues, but what are the areas that the city is really going to focus on over now, starting your term? What is important to you as a priority for making, the folks in this room making their lives a little easier? So.
Well, I think, part of what you can see our work over the last several years, when I served as council president, we started the Small Business Roundtable that many of the folks on this panel and folks here in the audience participated in, and have really helped the city streamline some of our processes and really bring this city more in line with some private sector and other civic center best practices around the country. Obviously, we've dramatically increased our small business and entrepreneurial startup lending because access to capital is a major hurdle that small business and entrepreneurs face every day. We also know that navigating, as you mentioned, permitting process and dealing with city government as well, and that's why we created that small business concierge position, so that there's one point of contact if you're looking to engage with the city, get a permit, start a business, expand your business. We have one person that can help navigate through that process and be a liaison to many city departments, because it may be one business you're starting, but potentially 3 different departments that you have to interact with as an entrepreneur or small business owner at the city. And I would argue, in something that I'm very passionate about, is one area that we need to continue to grow and thrive is creating more opportunities for minority and women-owned small businesses in our city. I believe very passionately about that, and that's why I created the position and was able to recruit Steve Francis, who is widely recognized as an expert in this field. Stole him away from Honda to come become the city's first chief diversity officer in our city's history. And so Steve is going to be putting together a plan for us to take our efforts with respect to minority-owned and female-owned businesses to a new level. That is one area I believe, as the leader of the city, we must and can do better.
Yeah, well said. I believe the training is a key component of starting or expanding your business. A business plan is very important to, it should be used as a guide, whether you're starting or expanding. We find that a lot of individuals need capital, so that's where ECDI comes in. We have 46 loan funds that we either own or manage. One example is a city loan fund that we have. I mentioned we're an SBA microloan intermediary. Banks invest money in ECDI as well for lending. So our loans vary from $500 all the way up to $350,000. We've just introduced a new product. It's called a credit builder loan. It's for those individuals that may have no credit or, some problems with their credit. So they will be going through financial literacy training, and they will be eligible for a very quick turnaround loan of $750. That's one of the ways that we are trying to address some of the needs that individuals have that are not able to get into traditional loan products. ECDI also operates a women's business center, as the mayor mentioned. It's very important. Women entrepreneurs do have, different type of needs, I would say, than their male counterparts. I would say probably that women are sometimes a lot quicker to get the information, so we take them through a quicker process than their male counterparts. That was a joke, by the way. A little bit of a joke. Anyway, but
You haven't advanced in a remediation.
absolutely, yes, 100%. The Women's Business Center does provide a resource center for women entrepreneurs. They use computers. They have a network of professional women that can help them with questions and really mentor them. In addition to that, when you talked about access to contracts, I think that's very important, that first contract or helping businesses. So about 10 years ago, and again, this is also because of the city of Columbus and the county and some other funders, we were seeing in 2006, 2005, a lot of our businesses that we were helping who were in a construction business were suffering due to economic, strides that, we're all experiencing. So we wanted to protect our portfolio of clients. So what we did was we went to the city and the county, and we were able to get what is called minor home repair contracts for senior citizens and for disabled, the people that are in most need to stay in their homes. Imagine somebody that doesn't have a ramp or needs an air conditioner fixed. It's the difference between them moving and becoming homeless or staying in their home. So we contract this out to our clients. What a great way to help our clients as well as senior citizens and disabled. This is something that we celebrate every day, and we don't hear about these programs too often because we so much focus on our technical assistance and our lending. But these are really programs that allow us to, triple bottom line, really, help the needy, help our clients, and also build the economy. And this is something that ECDI will be moving more and more into. And finally, I want to talk about some innovative things that we're doing, because that's going to be one of my questions, so I just want to talk about it real quickly. ECDI started looking at our businesses and really growing them from the ground up. Perfect example is Chris Crater. Chris came to us 7 years ago. 6 years ago. First of all, he's created a lot of jobs. That's phenomenal for this city, so let's thank him. Second of all, he's all about local. He buys local, he hires local, he supports farmers, he supports the workforce. He's phenomenal. 4 restaurants. Chris went to a bank. I'm telling your story, by the way. Yeah, he went to a bank and he was not able to get a loan. And we know that a lot of food-based businesses, when they start up, it's hard, it's difficult.
The banker was actually my neighbor. And it's, when you hear like your parents talk about knowing their banker and knowing, like back in the old days, that had gone away. And I just thought, well, I know the banker and I know we have a good idea, so we should be able to get a loan. And he did everything but laugh us out of the bank. And on our way out of the bank, he said, I love your idea. I love the business plan. You should talk to ECDI. And we had to collateralize my wife's 2002 Nissan Maxima, which is my favorite part of the story. It was worth, but they wanted something. They said, this is a big risk. This is a big risk. And we had nothing. We didn't own our house. We rented it in Marion Village. We were taking a big leap for us, and they were taking a big leap for them by investing in an idea. But it was literally like we knew our banker. It was like small town banking. You heard that it used to be. And I mean, I quite frankly and literally would not be right here without what they offered us, which was, it's.
And the last loan that we actually partnered with the bank for the Sultan Pine, his last restaurant.
First Merchant.
Yes, there was we have a bank partner in that, First Merchants Bank. So thank you, the bankers, because that's what our job is. Our job is to get our clients to the point where they can go borrow money. So what I would like to announce is the latest partnership with Chris Crater. We're actually, Chris, why don't you tell him what we're doing? We're taking an equity position and
So we worked on a grant together to employ people in areas that had still not come up like the rest of our city is. And Italian Village is in a unique position, being 4th Street. You have so much development happening on the west, and still the east side of 4th Street is still kind of struggling. But it's great because it's on a bus line, so you can bring people in from neighborhoods where they might not otherwise have the option for employment. So we got awarded the grant, and it's in an 1850s or 60s dairy barn that sits right next to the Serval warehouse at 4th and 2nd. and we're going to put a Mexican concept there. One of my favorite things to do when I interview people is to ask them, if you could open your own restaurant tomorrow, what is it? Where does your heart lie? And this young man had spent his years from his freshman year to his senior year of high school in Mexico City while his dad was doing his residency for medical school. And he said, ever since then, I just can't get my mind off of how I could create what the city would hopefully deem the best Mexican in the city. So that should be opening in June or July.
So the important part of this is it's going to create jobs, right? 50 jobs, right? That's phenomenal. New jobs, by the way. And ECDI, we're also very entrepreneurial, I think. So this is going to be an equity investment of the organization in the business. So we're going to co-own this business. It's really, truly an inspiring story how we, as a nonprofit, can also partner with a business and also create income to support the things that we do on a daily basis. So I'm really excited. Chris is excited, and you guys better all come to the restaurant.
That's great. So, well done. It's an inspiring story, and I guess all you need, the would-be entrepreneurs out there, or anyone looking to scale up, you just need ECDI and maybe a beat-up Nissan Maxima, and that's all you need. So I did want, this is a good segue, I wanted to make sure, Christy, that you got an opportunity to talk a little bit about Rev1 Ventures. So I'm curious, just what can Rev1 do starting a new business? As a lot of people here in this room know, it's like a super high-risk thing to do. It takes a lot of guts to get out there and do that. So where does Rev1 fit into this?
Right, it definitely is. And I think even though every business is different, the skill set, the background, the passion, the resources are different. I think one of the first things to remember, and you're seeing it here in all the great stories, is that you don't have to go it alone. You really don't. There's just get yourself connected and you'll find resources that are dedicated to helping with what you need. And also when you look at the risks of starting a business, they're very scary, but there's a methodical way to look at them, and that they typically lie in just 5 key areas, right? There's the product, your market, the business, how you organize it, your team, and then the ability for all that to come together from an execution standpoint. And so, what we like to say is that we really try to de-risk those 5 known risks and help entrepreneurs sort of tackle them in the right order. I think sometimes, and this is just in my experience, I did some consulting work for a while directly with small businesses outside of the many startups that I've been involved in. And what you realize is that they feel like they have to do it all at once and that they have to go it alone. And I have to become an expert in accounting and HR and financing and legal, and you don't, right? You need to know, high level, the areas where you have to kind of check the boxes. But you can partner with organizations to do that, and that's really where Rev1 comes in this community, especially around some of the high growth, high tech opportunities, life sciences, spin outs from our research institutions. We try to just kind of help them look at it in the right order and kind of knock down the risks as they come.
Thanks. And so I wanted to direct this one down the table to Elise, because maybe if you could just tell your story, because as a Thumbtack Pro talking to you yesterday, it was just particularly inspiring. And then maybe for the would-be entrepreneurs or small business owners who are still getting off the ground, maybe just talk about what you think, what skills do people need, should they be building on, before they get started. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a full-time student at OSU, and I also am a full-time photographer. And before that, I was also working full-time at Safelight Autoglass, or Safelight Solutions, on the phones 40 hours a week. And as an artist, that was really hard for me. And Thumbtack was the only reason that I was able to quit my full-time job and do photography full-time. And I've been hired over 80 times since August now on Thumbtack as a photographer, slowly building up. And I think the fact that I've been hired 80 times in Columbus speaks a lot to Columbus's economy too. Because a photographer, if you're struggling, if your family's struggling, you're not going to hire a photographer to take pictures. That's the last thing on your mind. So being that we have such a high middle class population here in Columbus, that really speaks volumes to the encouragement Columbus gives to small business owners. You said qualities? If you're an artist,
skills, other qualities you think have helped you succeed as a business owner, or things you wish you'd had before you got started?
Absolutely. I mean, as a small business owner, if you have a talent somewhere in one area, like you're an artist, you're a singer, you're a musician, whatever you do, you also have to be practical. You have to be organized. You have to be ready to work as hard as you can in order to get where you need to be. You can't give up. And so you have to be very determined to know what you want, and you have to be open to work with everyone that comes across your path.
Thank you. That's a great story. So I'm going to open it up to questions from the audience, but I did want to ask, so in case anyone's not aware, there is a presidential race going on right now, and I'm curious, what could the candidates learn from Columbus? Are there things that should they be taking the Columbus example to heart in their campaign, and who's going to win this thing? Mayor, you want to get on the record?
I'm a little biased, but I have some favorites. No, I think Washington could learn an awful lot from Columbus. The way that this panel represents, I think, what makes Columbus so special, the public sector and nonprofit and private sector working together. Because, what I continue to find is because Washington is so dysfunctional, that great change, innovation, and reform is actually taking place at the local level. And you see mayors across America that are taking the lead in, whether it's expanding, educational reform options and universal pre-K and other types of work, small business development, and focusing on growing their own local private sector by investing in, finance and infrastructure, workforce development, those types of things. So I believe that Washington could learn a lot from Columbus. And the bottom line is, there are lots of different projections. One of the reasons Columbus is so remarkable is that we don't blame, we don't scapegoat, we don't build walls, and we welcome people who want to become part of the Columbus community and want to contribute. This is a special place because it is in many different ways a project, an experiment. A city 204 years in the making that continually grows, changes, and navigates a trajectory towards shared prosperity, and knowing that we can't realize our full potential as a community and city unless every family and every neighborhood is sharing in that success. So if there are a few things that these candidates and that Washington could learn from Columbus, those would be the things I would share.
Great. And so you kind of touched on the issue, something that I've even noticed just being here for the last few days is, the city is a diverse city, and it is, it's kind of great to see. And so, Al, I wanted to give you a chance maybe just to talk about starting your business, starting the barbershop, and if there were, kind of what were those touch points, interaction points between the city, which either were particularly easy or places where, you want to tell the mayor, like, hey, you got to fix this because this was a pain.
Yeah, fix it all. No, I think when I decided to bring my business to my neighborhood in which I grew up in, it was very easy to find resources. What we have in place throughout the city is the NCR districts. And I had an NCR leader who was able to walk me through the steps of finding resources to help me start my business. Not only do I have a barbershop, I own a building. And it's a multi-use building where currently we house a new store that helps the residents. It's called My Grandma's Closet, which we take gently used clothing and we resell it to neighbors that are in the community at a low discount price. So being able to understand the process of how to walk through the NCR and find the NCR dollars and finding the money to sustain my business has been very helpful. And also one of the things that we're looking at in our neighborhoods and that are the east side particularly, and even in the Linden area or the west side, is that we have a lot of business owners that pass their businesses down to their relatives. And one of the things that I would like to see and what we're working on is how to teach those next upcoming generations of business owners how to run business, because a lot of them don't go to college. They're not going. So we need to find a way to help sustain those businesses that are in our neighborhoods, because once their parents go, the business goes. And then secondly, we need y'all to come in our neighborhoods and open up some businesses. You know, bring them back into the inner city, make this city, like the mayor talks about opportunity. There is a lot of opportunity in the King Lincoln, the Linden, the Hilltop, and Franklinton. And in those areas, I mean, you just got to get with us, and we're NCR leaders. I see a couple of them here, some of them left, but you got to take advantage of them, and we're here to serve you when you decide to come to our communities and want to open your business.
Great, thanks, Al. And I was in Franklinton yesterday getting a tour and walking around the neighborhood, and I have to say it's just exciting to see how much is changing and also how much potential there is in a place. So it's a neat place to be. So we've got about time for maybe 2 questions from the audience. Does anyone have a burning question, want to ask anything of this panel? If not, I'm sure we can come up with more to talk about. Yeah, so we got a question over here. So why don't you, if you come over here, and we'll get you on the mic. I was instructed to bring you up all the way up to the front.
First, I wanted to thank the mayor and Thumbtack and the panel for coming to support small business today. And I especially wanted to thank Chris Crater for Monday night oysters at Salt and Pine. But my question was, you know, a small business needs a stacking of incentives, federal, state, and local. And given the different politics at the city level and the state level and kind of a mixed bag in Washington, I didn't know if the mayor had any ideas for bringing officials together to create the needed opportunities for small business.
It's a great question, and you know, one of the things that I think we've done remarkably well with our development department, and we've got some outstanding. I think we have the best development department of any city in America under the leadership of Steve Shoney and his team, and obviously with the addition of the Small Business Concierge and the Economic Development team under Quentin Harris and Mark Lundine's leadership. We've done a remarkable job, I think, working with the state and the federal government, particularly around economic development and job creation. If there is one place where there is real synergy, regardless of who's in power at the state level and at the local level, and even to a certain extent at the federal level, there seems to be a commitment and an overlap and a focus around, you know, incentives, around making sure that we also are standing up for taxpayers, that there are provisions in there that make sure that those economic development goals are realized if that incentive is going to be realized and taken advantage of by the business, because that's another important aspect to this, is that we know that not every business risk is going to be successful. And we want to support and grow and develop those small businesses. My goal always is for the subs of today to become the primes of tomorrow in whatever different field or aspect. But we also have to make sure that we're standing up for the taxpayers of the city, of the state, the federal government, to make sure that those are calculated, thoughtful risks that we can stand up and support. Obviously, we've got a great story to tell here in Columbus about the return on investment. But as you know, and as you've seen and heard, there are lots of questions being asked about incentives and abatements and all those types of things. And we need to be able to stand up and defend our record, because it's been a great tool, because we've had great partnership between the city, the state, the federal government, but also our private sector.
All right, thank you. So that about does it for this portion of the event, but we do have our Thumbtack pros here serving some food and some J-pop, so make sure you get that. And also, just, you know, a special call to the business owners in this room. You know, I find one of my favorite parts about doing these events is this is a chance to meet other people who are in your shoes. You know, so people who maybe are going through a lot of the same things, maybe, you know, maybe they aren't a photographer or a carpenter or whatever your job is, but I guarantee you they're dealing with paperwork and thinking about how to navigate the world of, you know, city resources and so on. So take a chance to talk to folks, talk with these folks too. I want to thank our panel. And then finally, just a big congratulations to Columbus. You have a lot to be proud of. So congratulations.